Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we're here for PowerShell Wednesday, every single Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. in Sweden. If you're in Sweden, want to join us, good time for everybody. And yeah, so we do a PowerShell meetup. And today I'm at PowerShell Conference Europe in Malmo, Sweden. And I'm joined with a bunch of attendees, speakers, MVPs, and just good people overall to share some tips, tricks, and more. Oh, yes, let's allow us to go live on Discord, Brock, if you could as well. Brock will take care of that. And we have a bunch of speakers. So what I'm going to do is bring the speaker on. They'll introduce themselves, mention their topic, and then they're just going to dive right into it. I think we're shooting for 5 to 10 minutes. At 8 minutes, I'll say, hey, you have 1 minute. And if you go long, I'll maybe cut you off. But if you're in the middle of a point, I will not. Let's get you up here on the stage here, Harm. Harm, say hello to the audience. Oh, my gosh. Harm's
Hello,
living in
good
the dark.
evening. This is dark. This is better.
That is, it's an intimate lighting situation.
Yeah.
But Harm, introduce yourself, and let's start sharing some code.
All right. My name is Harm Veenstra. I'm a Microsoft Power MVP in PowerShell. I'm an IT consultant, and I've been on Andrew's show before.
Yes, check out the PowerShell podcast.
Yep. My topic is going to be something about PS custom objects, just why I use it and why you should use it as well, in a more like beginner thing, but also in a more advanced way, I guess.
Perfect.
So I should be sharing my screen.
Yeah, make it a little bit bigger if you could, though.
Yep.
Control plus for the people at home. There you go.
Yeah, that's big enough.
Perfect.
All right. These custom objects is something that you can store your data in. I use it quite a lot for my scripts because it's a nice placeholder for all your data to do stuff with. And there are multiple ways in which you can use it. So I'll just try and demonstrate something basic like you usually have in the most PowerShell courses, getting services, putting it into a PS custom object and doing some conditional stuff with that afterwards. Okay. Let's just get a list of all the services which are on my system. Normally, if you would display your services while running in a for each loop, then you get something like this. I hope it's visible in the command pane below. I think my VS Code doesn't love me anymore. What's going on?
No tab completion?
Yeah, I think my VS Code.
Yeah, that sounds about right. When you go live, things crash. It happens.
Well, this seems better. So now the autocomplete also works. Okay. Normally you would just get a list of the names, but you could also store everything that you get from inside of for each loop in a PS custom object. And you would do that by putting everything that you get from running a loop inside a variable, and that variable could be a PS custom object. So, and what are the properties that we usually have on a service? It's like a name, a display name, and a status. It's mostly the things that you would want to retrieve. So we could create the name field. And we could have the complete display name because the short name doesn't tell you enough. And we could see what the status is, which could be running without. And even maybe while we're at it, the startup type. Or the start type, actually. Okay. Now that we're done, we should have a nice list of all the services and their status. And I think at the zoom level it's a bit too big to actually show the stuff. how do you use your PS custom objects, Andrew? Do you actually use them?
I use them all the time for everything. I love outputting any kind of function I'm writing. I'm trying to output it a PS custom object. One, so I can know what it is, and two, so I can consume it with other commands. If I'm writing a module, I want to pipe things together, and I definitely don't want plain text output. But be a custom object is just my go-to.
Yeah, better than arrays or.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, or
Yep.
raw text is the worst.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you want to do something more with a PS custom object, you can also make them more customizable. If they're in a certain state, you can change the outputs, not just by that it's stopped or started or whatever, but you can also make it more conditional. I guess that would be automatic. But if it's not automatic, then you could also say, well,
Missing a close quote.
yeah, and I think the zoom level is also a bit too big.
Oh yeah, I like line wrapping. What's it called? Word wrap?
Yeah.
Oh yes, it looks like your parentheses is to the left of the if.
Yep. Correct. That will be that, and with.
There's an extra double quote there.
Yep.
Boom.
And we should put an else here as well. Boom. That makes sense. Okay. So now it should output, because if it's not automatic, it should say doesn't start automatically. Perhaps you should format this in a table.
It's just a cursor.
I think the zoom level is too big for this to actually display correctly. Yeah, so now you can see. So this is like conditional, so that you can put your own text into the conditions, or if it doesn't return anything, you could also say, well, it didn't return anything, instead of having a blank in your table.
Yes. You make more human readable, and also you can combine different outputs from different commands if you need to kind of create one output that would require 2 command calls originally. A lot of cool stuff there.
Yeah, and you could even nest this even more, but it becomes less readable if you do so. So yeah, but that's usually how I use my formatting for like reporting. I do a lot of Active Directory user management stuff, reporting for migration teams, and I use this all the time. It makes their life a lot easier, and it's easy to do for them.
Absolutely. PS custom objects are amazing. Thank you so much, Harm. If people want to find you, what's your website?
Well, everybody knows that PowerShell is fun.
It is fun. PowerShellIsFun.com. There you go. Andreas, are you ready?
Sure.
All right. If you could hand him the mic, Andreas, introduce yourself, tell us your topic, and then take it away, good sir. You want to go third? Yeah, Christian, you can go third as well. All right. I will click a bunch of buttons here.
All right.
All right. I will add you to the stage. There we go. Oh, little inception, but that's
wow.
All right. All right. Take it away.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Andreas Diekmann. I'm a Microsoft MVP for PowerShell from Germany. And today I just want to show you one little PowerShell module that I created a while ago, which is called GUID v7. So GUID, you might have seen those already if you do anything related to Microsoft. They're, for example, in Active Directory or in Entra ID, Microsoft 365. It's basically these long strings with numbers and letters, and they have a specific schema which is also defined in some RFC 9562. And I will not read you the whole RFC, but the gist is there are multiple versions of a GUID, and you can easily create a GUID for yourself if you need one. For example, if you create any kind of system where you want to identify something like a user, a file, or something with a unique ID. And the thing is, these GUIDs are then usually in version 4, and they are random. And there's also this version 7, which is still random, but you can embed some date info, date time in there, so that you can then at some point later still find out when you created this GUID. So the date time object is basically embedded in there. And I'll have a quick demo. Oops, wrong screen. So the basic commandlet is just new GUID v7. So if you create that, you just get a GUID. It looks pretty normal. The only thing is, if you look closely here in the third section, the first letter is a 7 instead of a 4. That's how you can see it's a version 7 instead of a normal GUID v4. And with that alone, you don't see very much. But you can actually convert it back. There's also a second commandlet in the small module that I created. For example, with this GUID here, which for normal people doesn't say anything, but you can convert it back with get date time offset from GUID v7. I know it's a really verbose name, but it's true. It's what it does. And if you run that, whoops, click the wrong thing, then you can basically convert it back to a date time offset. Yeah, it's a date time offset object. And you can see all the info that you would normally expect with the date info. So it's a local time, you have the UTC time, and all kinds of other date info as properties.
And that's from when you generated the GUID?
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
So in default, when you just call this new GUID v7 commandlet, then it takes the time right now. But you can also specify a time. For example, with this one, I just use the standard get date commandlet from PowerShell. And if I run that, let's see, then I create one specific GUID. And if I take that again and try to convert that, because of the verbose name, I also created an alias, which is called convert GUID v7. Whoops, I have to quote the GUID, so it knows it's a string. Sorry. And with that, we can convert it back. So we got the time that was embedded in this GUID.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's basically what the module does. And it's, I think I still have like a minute or something. If you're interested in ever creating a module yourself, this is like a really simple module, which is also automatically published by GitHub Actions to the PowerShell gallery. I looked at some approaches that are out on the internet, and some of them are really complicated, and this one is like really simple. So if you want to start out and don't want to mess around with complicated stuff, take a look at this.
Awesome. And where can we find you on the internet?
Yeah, so if you're German, I have a German YouTube channel, which is called DeepNet. It's basically something related to my name. And I also got a blog where I post in English and German, and it's deepnet.de.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to meet you this week. Thank you for presenting at PowerShell Wednesday on about 2 hours notice.
All
so
right.
You're ready to go. We'll have to have another chat here, maybe get you on the podcast as well.
Thanks for having me.
Christian, if you could present your screen on StreamYard, and we'll get you set up with a microphone as well.
Sure.
That's very cool, though. I had no clue that. I mean, I guess it makes sense if GUIDs are at version 7 that there would be some kind of things improved in the protocol.
Come on.
But I did not realize that kind of embedding the date time was part of that. So
I usually get hooked up, so
you got this, man. You gotta pinch it. Yeah, pinch from the. Yeah, that'll work too. All right, and I'll add you to the screen so people can see you struggling getting the mic on.
I'm away.
All right, and then click present to share your screen.
I did click.
Did you? I do not see it. This is Christian Ritter, in case you didn't know. He's been on the PowerShell podcast. He's a Microsoft MVP. He's a nerd for PowerShell. I guess like all of us are here. If you're attending a PowerShell Wednesday, you probably are geeking out. Maybe you've seen the light of PowerShell. Maybe you're about to see the light.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
But I struggle, as good as I know PowerShell, I struggle to share my screen. So I really could use some help here.
I will help you, my friend. So
Thank
let's
you.
click that
No,
button,
no.
present.
No,
Oh,
it's Firefox.
select
So
window, yeah, and probably VS Code at the bottom. Yeah, entire screen will work. All right,
So,
now go to
hey.
VS Code.
exactly. So the thing is, Harm before told us something about PS custom objects and how awesome they are.
Yes.
And I think they're awesome too. Some people rely heavily. You should always have a hash table or something like this. So basically, when you have a custom object, it's just typecasted. A hash table is typecasted into PS custom object. So basically, they work the same under the hood. They have some kind of methods and so on. But what I want to show is, because I had this really long introducing to my topic, is I want to talk about updating type data. So therefore, for instance, as you can see here, I have a PS custom object as well. It's called var. And inside is a property called foo. Should I enlarge my screen a bit, zoom in a bit?
Yeah, just a little bit.
So? Yeah, fine?
Yeah,
Cool.
close that sidebar though. Control V.
Next thing I want to do.
Okay,
And
cool.
just have a little bit more space. We should be good to go.
Awesome.
So, amazing. So, as I've said, we have here a variable with a PS custom object connected to property view and value bar. So, but what I can do now is I can step through until to PS custom object type names, and I can give my object a new type. But the thing is, objects can have multiple types.
Objects can have all the types, yeah.
Exactly. And so, when I have an object that has multiple types, I also could update the type data. So I can add script properties, regular properties, like you had with add member. We all did it somehow in our
Yeah, add
back
member.
time when we had to use PowerShell 2.0. So, but the thing is, when I do update type data, it's not only for this object. Every object that I will create in my session that has this one specific
The type.
object type. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So therefore, here I just add, hey, there's a type name called Germany. Please add this. And now I just update the type data, Germany, and then I have a member name, which is a script method called have a drink. So, in Germany, when we have a drink, we say, maybe you can see it right now on the screen, Prost. So, therefore, if I do this,
Can I try saying it and you give me a rating? Prost.
that was pretty close.
Okay.
Andreas could, it's always present because I prepared things, which I don't usually do. But the next thing is, I can now go to my var and have a method present called have a drink. And when I call it, it should, and it does, say, hey, Prost to me. So I can do the same thing for France, and then Santé. I don't know if I was good. Salut, a salute is Italy. At least GitHub told me that this is the case. So, but the thing is, that's kind of funny. But what is it good for? You're asking, and that's a really good question, Andrew. Basically, so I'm a fan of .NET, and I'm a fan of shiny little things. And .NET has a neat feature for dictionaries. So let me just spin up another instance here, and we go like hash table .ps1. So, and while preparing, I should have spoken more to you, but the thing is, I updated type name for system collection hash tables and have a method here that I didn't copy it because I don't know what I'm doing. So, there we go. I missed that part. So, .NET has a method called getValue or default. And I think, from my opinion, I really missed that on hash tables. What this does is basically, hey, I look for a value for a key, and if it's not present, hey, come on, just post a default value. Where it comes handy, like I can show you here, if I have a large set of numbers translating to Germany, configuration file or something like this, to languages, sorry. So 1 is German, 2 is French, Spanish, Italian, Russian. And if nothing hits those conditions, then probably it's English because it's a world language.
Yeah.
So therefore, when I define my method, I'm sorry for using the ternary operator here, because usually I don't do this.
Oh,
but
the ternary operator.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. I
A
love
little
it.
fancy.
So then I update the hash table, like I shown with the greeting or have a drink method. And now, when I have here the number 1 in my language table, and now if I ask get value or default, and I go by 42 and salute to everyone who know why 42 is 42, the answer of everything, because
That
I
is-
know why. If you want to know this, just ask me. And then I receive English. And I think this is a pretty handsome little method that we should have. But if we don't have shiny toys, we build them. Isn't it?
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and that was all I wanted to show right now.
Perfect. That's very powerful stuff too, and it's a nice follow along to Harm session. Now, people like you, where can they find you on the internet?
My usual tag on the internet is HC Ritter. So I'm also Microsoft MVP, also for PowerShell and Craft somewhat. And yeah, so basically search for AC Ritter. I'm there on Blue Sky, Twitter, all those cool stuff. LinkedIn, Christian Ritter. Go ahead.
So you're a graph nerd.
I'm a graph nerd.
I got to introduce you to my friend Morton. He's a big graph nerd as well.
I would love to meet him.
Yes, Morton.
Thank you for having me, Andrew.
Yes, thank you, my friend.
And now we can pass along the mic.
Yes, pass along the mic. Guys, you ready, my friend? Pass this on down to him, if you could, Christian. Different Christian. There's multiple Christians here. And I'll switch to a layout. Well, okay, there we go. And feel free to click the present button at the bottom, and I'll add you to the screen as well. Look at this guy. Oh, Christian Ritter. Hey.
All right.
There we go. There you are. You're free now. And after this, while Gijs gets set up, I will add him to the stage here. But after this, we're actually going to go play some pool. And Christian Ritter, he's convincing us every night, hey, let's go play pool. Here's the secret. He's the only one who's really good at pool. So he wants to boost that ego a little bit. Oh, there we go. Exactly. All right. He's clicking some buttons over there. Yeah, they can hear you.
Yeah,
I
cool.
think. I'm guessing, but okay, let me add you to the stage there as well. All right, so introduce yourself, tell us what you're going to talk about, and then just take it away, my friend.
Thanks for having me, Andrew. Yeah, my name is Gijs. I'm also a PowerShell MVP and also author of the DSC V3 handbook. And I will be giving some love to Microsoft DSC, which has changed quite much recently. So
Can you try sharing your screen again? It's having an issue.
Oh.
And I fixed the echo. There we go.
Better now?
Still is black on my end.
Oh,
So we might need to pivot a
there.
little bit and turn this into a quick little interview. All right. So what were you going to talk about, my friend?
Yeah, Microsoft DSC v3.1, which was released literally 1 week ago, I think.
And you're the DSC guy.
I'm the DSC guy. Yeah.
He
that's
really
what
is.
That's what they said on the conference as well. And I wanted to give a little basic demo what has changed actually.
And it's
because
working now, so you're good
It's
to go.
working.
Yes,
Nice,
yes.
nice. All right. So Quick refresher, because what I mentioned, like DSC has fundamentally changed the naming, the terminology. It will probably be, for people that are familiar to DSC, be difficult to grasp. So that's why I thought, let's map the concept. So for users that mainly use the script-based and class-based DSC resources, what you always will do is install the PS desired state configuration module. But with Microsoft DSC v3.1, it has completely changed, because it's now a command line utility written in Rust. So Winget has it. It has it in the the Winget package repository, but it's also published to the store. So if you search for the Winget desired state configuration on Winget, then you'll see the IDs that you can see in the screen. It both has a general availability status, and it also has a preview one. But because DSC is now also cross-platform, you can either go to the GitHub repository, which is now fully open source, or you can use my module and install it with a single command, and you can check out already the versions that are available, but we'll choose the general availability. So what this will do behind the scenes, it just grabs a zip file from GitHub, installs it in the local app data folder, and then whenever you run DSC version, you can see the version. So this is completely different compared to like native PowerShell DSC, where you're running commands. It's now a command line utility. That's really good to understand. So a little bit to the basics. From PowerShell desired state configuration, what you normally will do is say, if you want to list out available DSC resources, you will use the get DSC resource. If you want to execute a resource directly, you will use invoke DSC resource. And if you want to apply a configuration, it is start DSC configuration if you're invoking it with the LCM. If you want to check out the help for DSC, you can simply run it like this, and you can see the available options and commands it has. But if you want to list out the available DSC resources on your machine, you can simply run DSC resource list, which fetches all the resources available. So let's give it a little second. So here you can see this is totally different compared to PowerShell desired state configuration, because here you can see the kind which is resource. You also have one which is a group, importer, adapter, and these are the current available. We'll be mainly focusing on the resource one. This is also different. It's a command-based DSC resource, but what it actually behind the scenes is, it's just simple and executable. And we'll also dive into the adapter. So if you want to check out the properties, because DSC now doesn't work like a normal PowerShell command, it's all JSON, you can simply run this to see what are the available capabilities it has, what the schema is, what version it is, and where it is located. So if you want to check out the available properties, it can a little bit be scary to look at first. But this is what DSC actually returns. At the surface, it's YAML, but if you're piping it to anything different or are storing it in a variable, you will always see JSON. The main property that is required to invoke this DSC resource is keypath. So if I'm trying to fetch something from the registry, you can see that it has fetched the value from the registry. But for PowerShell folks, to write JSON is a little bit of a nightmare. That's why PowerShell has a bunch of commands to convert it to JSON from a hash table. So let's do it a little bit differently. And then run the get command once again and grab the output. So here you can see that this path doesn't exist in the registry, so we can simply run some PowerShell again to check for that status, and now it's creating the registry key. So now you can see in the output the after state key path now exists, and if we actually want to verify it, we can open the registry. And then you can see, hey, it's available.
So quick question.
Yeah,
could you in theory replace GPOs with DSC?
Theoretically, you can, because you can set a lot of registries. I think, for example, if you look at the machine configuration side, they have a baseline, for example, which actually sets a bunch of registry keys the same way as group policy does it.
Yeah, awesome.
True. So let's take a quick look at adapters, which is a new concept in DSC, which allows you to run non-command resources. And in this case, it can invoke things from PowerShell desired state configuration. What it actually does behind the scenes is simply use the invoke DSC resource, but it grabs the input that you give it and outputs JSON back, because that's not known to the PowerShell world. So if you're listening out the adapter, it will take a while because it's going to run the get DSC resource behind the scenes, create a cache file, and in that cache file you can see the data what it has stored. So we let this run for a second. I think everybody knows that the get DSC resource command is always a little slow. And now you can see the original PowerShell desired state configuration resources like class-based or script-based. So if you look at the content from the cache file, this is the cache file that it has created. So if you're grabbing the content into a variable, you can see, hey, this is actually what it has done. And if I try to rerun it again, it will be way, way faster. Fingers crossed, of course. There you go, that was way quicker. That's one of the mechanisms that DSC uses, caching. So if I now want to run a class-based DSC resource, I can check, for example, Microsoft PowerShell. Well, I'm currently running PowerShell, so if I'm trying to run the resource through the V3 engine, using the winget package DSC resource, what it actually does behind the scene is it invokes winget to search if Microsoft.PowerShell is installed on my system. It's always with the demos that it's a little slower, eh?
Always, every
Always.
time.
So
it wouldn't be live without that.
Yeah, as you can see now, it returns a whole JSON string, and then of course, because I'm running everything in PowerShell, the actual state is present. One good thing to note with this because it's a class-based DSC resource from like the original, the ensure was the word. Now in v3 exist is the word. So to run a configuration document, you can either use JSON or YAML, which is way more readable. So what I can do is I can load this one in and see, is PowerShell preview also available? And I'm using the ID that comes from the Microsoft Store. So this does actually the same. So what it does, if you look behind the scenes, it will spawn an instance of Wincat to search on the Microsoft Store source to see, is PowerShell the preview available there, and is it also located on the machine. And there you can see from the configuration document, this is the result. It's currently inDesire is false because I'm not having PowerShell preview installed. And then I can use the DSC config set command to run it. I'll not do it because that takes a little while. But that's actually a little bit the basics of Microsoft DSC.
Awesome. And if people want to learn more, maybe they want to dive into DSC and make it something that's in their tool belt. Is there a book that maybe you've written that could help them with that?
Yeah, that's currently on LeanPub. That's the DSC v3 handbook. Go take a look if you want to learn more.
Yeah, DSC v3 handbook. And I'm going to get you on for a full proper PowerShell podcast episode where maybe we can dive deeper into who Heis is.
Looking forward to it, man.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much. And we have one more presentation in store for you all. Christian. Not Christian Ritter, the other Christian, yes. Christian Piet, aka Man Bear Piet, if you've seen him online. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Pete.
No problem.
What does this guy know? What do I know? Nothing. Pete. Well, that's way easier.
Yeah.
But I'm struggling with a lot of the names, but I guess yours is the one I got wrong so far.
No problem.
All right, let me add you to the screen here.
I'll do.
All right, and click the present button at the bottom, share your screen. We should be good to go.
Just finishing my demo.
Yes, I know. A lot of the people who are going to be joining us here, I didn't give them most notice. So I guess it speaks to their presentation skills and their knowledge. And to be honest, a lot of them, I kind of asked them to dumb down their presentations to make it more accessible for different people who are maybe more beginners. So Christian, thank you so much for joining us, my friend.
I can almost join.
You can almost join. Take your time, my friend.
Yeah, the macOS is being annoying.
That's all right.
We're sharing. I don't know if my screen is visible.
I don't know if it's visible either. Yes, it is, but select a different window so we don't go into Inception.
Oh,
Inception. Yeah. There we are. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, great. Well, I'm Christian Piet. I'm a DevOps consultant at Inspark in the Netherlands. I've been using PowerShell for some time now. I was in a team that told me either learn PowerShell or find a new team. So choice was made. Yeah, that was a lot of fun, but I learned a lot from them, and I was grateful that they give me the spot to learn on the job there. But I've been using it ever since, and I learned some tricks to elevate the skills and to make it a little bit easier to just write code that works a bit more like you expect it to. And one of these tools is PowerShell Script Analyzer by Christoph Bergmeister. I think he was on your podcast once.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Chris Bergmeister. I love him.
Chris Bergmeister, yeah. He's awesome. And he made an awesome module, Script Analyzer. I think he told you already there, but I can show you how I use it. And I have a pet project in which I am trying to automate the style reference. Not everyone knows that there's a community-written style reference on how to write PowerShell, but I'm trying to automate it just for the fun of learning how those script analyzer rules, how to create those, but also how to use those and how to help others write better code. because yeah, if you help another, then your life's going to get easier also. But to start, I don't know if you have any questions up front or just that I just should show stuff.
Just dive in. I'll let you know if we run into some questions along the way as well.
Okay, great. I see my first improvement point. Sorry. Here you go. Well, to install the module, it's just a module. You can do install PS resource, PS script analyzer, and then of course in your current user scope. And it would be handy if you just immediately import it after. So that's why we pipe it. From there on, you have a setup in which you could already use the module, but everybody likes to write code in VS Code at the moment. So we need to do some setup steps to make sure that that all works properly. On the top, we have the PS script analyzers PSD1 file. That's a PowerShell data file. And only line number 2 is relevant here, that you could that you should include the default rules to check out the code with, to validate the code against. Because script analyzer has some built-in settings, or sorry, rules to validate your code against. So once we set up this file, and we could do it like this, but I'm going to need those other rules later on. So just let me hide this because it's not relevant at the moment. The first rule is most important now. From there on, if you build that file, you should let VS Code know that it exists. So you have a reference. You have the settings up in your VS Code, and you can point to this path of the file. You could do a full path or just a relevant path. In this case, I've put it right next to my VS Code settings, so that's why I could use this. But if you just press right-click on the file and you copy the path and just paste in there, it will work just as well. From there on, we have a setup which we could use. So if you're sure that your PowerShell extension works, it will automatically suggest some stuff. And I can see the first one already. For the function getNown, the code is not relevant for at the moment. Of course, it's fun to say hi to everybody. But we can see that this has a trailing white space that came from the PS script analyzer module and has this rule. And we could check it out. Oh, that's the wrong one. I was checking out this one. Oh, it's skipping. Let's go up. Let's go up the other way. Oh, it's a fun bug. Needs to let Justin know about it. But there's a PS avoid trailing white space, and I sometimes have no idea what these mean. So what I just do is I just Google my way out on what it is. There's a reference just on the Microsoft Docs. And in here you can click all the stuff to know what is this about and how does this work and how should I fix it. So here's the wrong, here's the correct. That's the kind of unambiguous stuff that I like to have in my code to know what's good and what's wrong. Another example is this, a try-catch block. It doesn't matter what it is, but you know that something's up here. And mind the color. So this one is yellow and the other one is blue. So this is more a style thing, an informational, and this is really a warning for, about, hey, something might be up here. It also has stuff like don't use aliases. In this case, it's especially something that you should be very careful for. These are not the only rules that you could use. There's an awesome book author called Chris Dent. He always helps everyone at the PowerShell Discord. So a big shout out to him. He always helped me with my deeply flawed code. He has an excellent module with some additional recommendations on code. I can show it here. Maybe we could put it in the show notes or in the, we'll figure it out. It's this repository, indented script analyzer rules. He even has some descriptions on what they are. I earlier showed you the file where you could define which rules you all should use. In here, there's a custom rule path. What I did was I just saved the module of Chris Dent that you just saw with save module, save PS resource in this repository. And in here, all the rules are defined. I won't show them all, that's not relevant, but just know that you could use these rules by a very experienced author to improve your code quality. So you need to point, that is important, you need to point to the PSM1 file in there, or else it won't work. So let me change that here. And it should work soon. Let me make some edits. So it wakes up. Hey, yeah, here's one. It states, hey, you're using write output, but it's not unnecessary. If you just delete write output, it would work the same. That's his advisory. And if you want to know more about why that is, you could check out his repository, or check out his book, Mastering PowerShell, I think it is. Mastering writing PowerShell or something. It's an awesome book. It helped me elevate my code quality a lot. But that's not the only trick that's up there. I'm writing some code to automate the style reference. I don't know if I have it up in here. One moment. My repositories. I have too many stuff. PowerShell style. It's this repository on GitHub. And that also has the same stuff. It's another on a PSM1 file with another set of rules. And it's a work in progress, so it's not yet done, but I I mentioned it in the PowerShell scripting channel of the PDQ chat, and people were excited, so hey, I was too. And if I also add my, I have my module in here too. This is the same PSM1 that you just saw on GitHub.
What is the PS pass? What does the PIS stand for?
It was something like in the title of the style guide.
Okay.
I just abbreviated that one. I needed to have something quick.
Yeah.
I don't know why I named it that way again, but it also has the same stuff. So it also has the same type of rules. If you want to write those, it's an excellent experience to learning how to write those. I know Gijs Rijn is going to try it soon too. He's been bugging me about it, so I need to publish it. So I published it, and here we are. Maybe I should save this. That would help. Yeah, here we go. The style reference has some rules like add commandlet binding, because this at the moment is a dumb function. It has no commandlet binding nor param, so just add param already. And there's another one. I'm using continue outside of a loop, switch, or trap statement, and that shouldn't be done. So yeah, that's how you can use the script analyzer rules to elevate your code quality. You could also use it from a pipeline, from a build pipeline to scan all of your code instead of a single file or just your editor. However, that broke in my VS Code, so I can't show you at the moment, but I can write a blog about it soon, so you can all check it out.
And where's that blog?
membearpete.com. So
Yes.
that might sound a little bit odd, but it's just membearpete.com. And if you want to reach out to me, you can always contact me via the PowerShell Discord. I'm also on the PDQ Discord, but not as much as I would hope. I'm also very active on the Azure Discord and some other Discords, but those are the main ones.
Awesome. So it sounds like PS Script Analyzer can be used by people who are very fluent in PowerShell to make sure you don't make mistakes, but also if you're maybe more on the beginner side of things, to make sure you don't make mistakes that you don't even know could cause issues.
Exactly. Yeah, it was a big help to me. Especially the default rules really helped me.
Oh yeah.
But also the rules from Chris Dent, and those were some investigation on why they should be done, because custom rules don't have a Microsoft Docs backing it with a wrong and a right. So that's kind of hard. But with Copilot or GPT or some help from the PowerShell Discord, you always can know why it should be hinted that it should be different or wrong.
Awesome.
And we can help everybody write better code.
That's the goal. Less errors, more work, more productivity, more money for the business, but also less frustration. For me, a little bit less frustration is the goal. But hey, thank you, Christian. And thank you, everybody else who joined for PowerShell Wednesday. We had quite the crew today, many of them joining on quite late notice. So I really appreciate that. Every single Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. if you're in Sweden, we host PowerShell Wednesdays. I also do the PowerShell podcast every single Monday, but I dropped a midweek episode from PowerShell Conference Europe. And in the coming weeks, I have a lot of interviews coming that I've recorded while I was here, a lot of bar sessions. I sat down with the Microsoft team earlier today to get an update on things and dove into their experience. But thank you, everybody out there, for joining us. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, listen to the PowerShell podcast. Join us in the future for PowerShell Wednesdays. If you have ideas for people who would be great guests, either on PowerShell Wednesday or the podcast, always open to feedback. But have a fantastic rest of your day, everybody. Bye-bye.